The Rakitata is a huge river system on the eastern seaboard of the South Island. It's 177,000 hectares and it's almost a pipe to the sea in a single line, but with a huge upper catchment area that reaches right up onto the tops of the Southern Alps into the big ice gardens and plateaus. The fact that the Rakitata is a braided river is really significant. Braided rivers are rare internationally and a really iconic landform from Canterbury. They're caused by rapid upthrusting mountains and large amounts of rainfall. Basically that means you get a lot of alluvium, a lot of shingles moving down the system, and what you usually get is large plains that the river will move, and braided rivers are really dynamic and that's a feature of them.
From our point of view, Mana Whenura's point of view, the Rakitata has always been a special awa to us purely from a whakapapa perspective. We're talking about a kai source, a material source, aratawhiti, a trail, a place of travel for us to go over the west coast. But also it's a special place of interaction with our tupuna, our people that have passed on, and also to our atua, our gods. Because it's been altered so much through the industries that surround and the resources that are extracted, i.e. the water, the wai, the river has become a mere shadow of what it was.
We have tended to push the river into an unnatural course. We have sculpted the braid plain and moved our farming and our infrastructure out onto it. And generally, we haven't done that with consideration of the river. I've been bird monitoring on this river now for maybe 7 or 8 years, and in that time we've seen in the lower river, when I first arrived, black-fronted terns and black-billed gulls would nest in colonies on the lower river. These days they're disappearing from this river system. Exotic weeds, exotic predators, ecosystem imbalances, they've really struck to the heart of the river. We're starting to see some of those treasured taonga are just disappearing completely.
It's not just a waterway, it has mana, it has mauri, it has this amazing power, and yet we've reduced it to an economic value.
Typically, rivers in New Zealand, and particularly braided rivers, are really suffering from encroachment. They've had a lot of intensification of land use around them, and we've tended to box our rivers in with stop banks. And so that is something that we need to address and try and work out how do we manage the braided river system to allow it to be dynamic again and to allow maximum flood flows and to protect our communities, to do all those things together. And that's part of the great conversation we're starting to have with our communities now. There's actually pockets of all different communities and interest groups all the way along the Awa, and all these people have a special relationship that's unique to themselves and the river, and it's really important that we identify those. And basically what we've seen starting up this project is there's an incredible amount of people doing amazingly good stuff on this river already, and so part of our work here is to champion those people to you and show you the incredible work they're doing. We're hoping that that's going to have a really inspirational effect over our wider community, and when we start reaching out to some of these groups, like our farmers, our landowners here, we actually have incredible buy-in, and we're doing amazing stuff like here at Kirikiri in what was once the south branch of the Rangitata.
We're not just driving this from a whakapapa perspective, we're actually driving it from a whole community perspective. Let's start looking after our waterways a bit differently, because the current method does not work.
We're all suffering and can see the impacts of climate change. We can see that the rivers have been running unnaturally for a long time, and the impacts of that are starting to be felt with alluvium build-ups. And I think now there's a real hunger to manage the rivers so that the rivers are able to behave much more dynamically, to be alive, and to still allow the river to support our community, to make its living, to do our thing, to have our farming, but to also give the river room so that the river can live as well.
It's the taonga. By protecting that, we're going to create a whole lot of benefits from a spiritual feeding, physical. You know, your wairua is going to be filled up. The whenua is going to be healthy.
Over on the skyline we have the Maunga Tarahoa. This is the sacred mountain Mount Peel, and we have a continual line of stepped restoration sites and wetlands running up the river towards Tarahoa in our plan. That's the idea, is to create a corridor to allow wildlife to filter back down into the lower reaches of the river and to provide source material and stock that will actually populate the bermlands and change us to a natural ecosystem.
The restoration is all about getting the plants back. If we can get the plants back, we're going to get so many species back. Birds, insects, you know, your lizards, and in the waterways, we're going to get all our native galaxias back in those waterways. You know, the kōkapu, the giant kōkapu, the whitebait, the inaka, all those. That's the beauty of what we're doing.
We've only been actually doing our restoration on this river for a couple of years, but our aspirations reach way into the future, and some of the work we're having won't have impact for 30, 50, 60, 100 years. And so we have developed a 100-year strategy. I hope that this river actually remains a living, vibrant place, a place where taonga species are common and we can all gather food and kai, where the water is fresh to drink, where those huge natural cycles can be completed, where fish can go to sea and return and spawn. I wish to see all these things, that amazing dynamicism that is the Braided River, maintained.
Restoration of the Raki Tata is about us retrieving our mana, our wairua, our mauri, all those things that make us are in that awa. They're in all these awas. And as we clean each one up and we get it back, we become stronger and prouder as whānau.